worthwhile lives.
Steve Darling.
Thank you, Dr. Alin Khan. It is a pleasure to serve under your chairmanship, and I would like to congratulate the member for Stoke Newington and Hackney North, or maybe even the other way round. And it was, and I actually applied myself for this very debate last week, but I'm delighted that the mother of the house came out of the hat, or maybe the speaker chose her for today. So I'm delighted that you've led the charge very ably. And it is about dignity. It is about independence, and something that I reflect to myself, well, what's the point of being an MP? The point of being an MP is giving people agency over their own lives, and that is what PIP does in shed loads, is giving people with disability agency over their own lives. In my own constituency of Torbay, there are 8,592 people who claim PIP. That is 12% of our working age population against an average, national average of 8% who claim PIP. So I have the honour of representing the most deprived Liberal Democrat constituency in the country, and I do live that, some of that myself, being disabled myself. And there are real challenges that we face. It is the highest area of interest for those who come to our CAB system in Torbay. I've also met a couple of people only this week coming to take part in events. A disabled gentleman, blind gentleman from Portsmouth, was sharing with me how he has PIP there to back him up if things go wrong with his access to work, and sadly things regularly go wrong with the access to work. Sister and the Minister will know I've crossed swords with him on this before. Also, there was a young lady I met only yesterday who has mental health challenges. She's able to get into therapy. Sadly, that wouldn't be there, and she'd be spiralling in a mental health doom loop if she didn't have the PIP to be able to support her. With pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you for giving way. In Stratford-on-Avon, I've heard from constituents who fear the welfare reforms could actually undermine their ability to remain in employment. And would my honourable friend agree that many of our constituents rely on PIP as a crucial support that allows them to overcome the barriers as they face in staying in work?
Thank you. And I think this is the crucial thing, is that if it is about getting people back into work, PIP is often, my colleague is quite right, PIP is there to support of getting people back into work. But we go back to what ministers have said, and whether it is the DWP, Secretary of State, the Chancellor or the Prime Minister, they all say the benefit system is broken. So let us make sure we reform it with some compassion. Liberal Democrats would like to see a benefit system that is reformed, but done in a way with people with disabilities, rather than foisting it upon them. So we know that the OBR have come back and said there's no evidence that this will get people back into employment. 300,000 people will actually end up being in poverty with these cuts that we're looking at before us. Also, the fact that PIP is a passport to other benefits. Carers allowance often is married to this, and what we often see is, with these proposals, a number of households across the country could lose £12,000 at the household, which would be massive if they lost PIP and carers allowance at the same time. A couple of case studies I just really want to touch on. One from Scope, a gentleman called Anthony, PTSD and also autism he suffers from. He gets 13 points. Brilliant. But sadly, all of those points are collected up under that 4-point threshold. So that is extremely concerning. He is worried sick about being able to afford, and he's a gentleman who works part-time. CAB in Torbay reached out to me about a lady whose condition got worse. She was assessed. Sadly, she lost PIP. and it feels as if she's almost a harbinger of what would go wrong for other people, because now she's not able to meet her living costs, particularly her housing costs. So that is a massive challenge for her. So I've got a few questions for the Minister, Chairman, if you'd indulge me. I'm particularly interested to know from the Minister why introduce this cruel cuts to PIP without undertaking reform in advance. One of our colleagues highlighted this earlier on, a couple of our colleagues, when there was change around DLA to PIP, academics have found that there were about 600 suicides at that time. As this cohort is much, much larger, has the Minister undertaken an assessment of how many suicides there will be? Is it over 1,000? And what mitigations will the Minister share with us this afternoon that they have taken into account to make sure that we don't hit those figures, which are extremely scary? And as the mother of the house highlighted earlier on, there was a by-election in the not-too-distant past. Will the Minister please listen to the people who spoke in that by-election and make sure that some of the most deprived communities don't have the hearts ripped out of them by cuts to PIP? Thank you.
Yeah.